Hi everybody, welcome to GTCoding. In this tutorial series, we have been creating this website using Next.JS. Now in this video, we will set up Prisma. So let's get started. Right here, I'm in my source code and let's go to the terminal and let's install Prisma. So I'll just stop the server. Now the first thing we will do is type npm i-d Prisma. So this will install Prisma as a dev dependency. So let's press enter. Right, Prisma has been installed. Now let's go ahead and install Prisma client to use in our application. So let's type npm i@prisma/client. Right now, if you go to this package.json file, here we can see we have Prisma client and Prisma installed. Now the next thing you need to do is run this command called npx prisma init. And now we can see that we have this new folder created called Prisma, and in that we have this schema.prisma file, and here we have some code written. And if you go to the environment file, here we can see that we have some code added by Prisma, and here we have the database URL. So we need to change this to our database URL. And right now it is set to PostgreSQL, so let's go ahead and change it to MongoDB. So here for the provider, we need to change this to MongoDB. And now we need to add the database URL over here in this database URL environment variable. So first of all, let's create a database. Right, so here I have logged into my MongoDB Atlas. So you can just search for MongoDB Atlas and create a free account and log into the account. Now here, the first thing you need to do is create a new project. So let's go over here to new project. And let's name the project Tech News. And let's click on next, and let's click on create project. And here we can see our project has been created. So let's click on create a deployment, and here we have these options you can select. I'll just select the free option, and let's leave all of these as it is, and let's click on create. And here we have the username and password. So I'll just set the username to GTCoding, and I'll just copy this password from here, and I'll just paste it over here. And let's go ahead and click on create user. And now here we need to add the IP address. So here I'll just type 0.0.0.0/0. Now this will allow us to connect to the database from anywhere. So let's click on add entry, and let's click on finish and close. Right now let's click on connect. Right now let's click on drivers, and let's copy this connection string. So let's click on copy, and let's go ahead and add it over here. So I'll just delete this, and let's add our connection string. And here, instead of this password, we need to add this password. So let's cut it from here, and let's add the password over here. Right now we have set up the database URL. Right now the next thing we will do is we will add the Prisma adapter to our Next Auth. So here we have the route file for Next Auth, and here let's add the adapter for Prisma. Now for that, we have to first of all install the package. So here let's type npm i, and here you have to type @auth/Prisma adapter, and let's press enter. Right now let's go ahead and import it over here. So let's type import Prisma adapter from @auth Prisma adapter, and here we need to type adapter, and we need to set it to Prisma adapter. And here we need to add the Prisma connection. So first of all, let's write the code for connecting using Prisma. So let's go to the root of our application, and here let's create a new folder called lib, and in that we'll create a new file called prismadb.ts, and here let's write the code to make a Prisma connection. Now if you go to the Prisma documentation, and if you scroll down over here to best practice for instantiating Prisma client with Next.js, here we can see that we have this code which we can use for the Prisma connection. Now this code basically prevents us from creating multiple instances of Prisma client. So let's go ahead and copy this code, and let's paste it over here. So here we can see that we are returning this Prisma. So this contains the Prisma connection. So let's go back over here, and let's import that. So let's type import Prisma from @lib prismadb, and let's add it over here. So I'll just type Prisma, and let's add a comma over here. Right now, the next thing we need to do is we need to create the models. So if you go to this Prisma folder, and if you go to the schema.prisma file, here we need to create the models according to the Next Auth specifications. So here if you go to the Next Auth documentation, you can just go to auth.js.dev and just go to adapters and go to Prisma adapter. And here we can see that to set it up, we have to copy this same schema from here. So let's go ahead and copy from this line of code till here. So we need to copy all these things as it is, because these are the different types of data that Next Auth handles. So here we have account, we have session, the user, and the verification token. So let's copy all of this and let's paste it over here. Now here we can see we have some errors over here. That's because we are using MongoDB for the provider. So if you go back to the documentation and if you scroll down, here we can see that for MongoDB we need to make some changes. So here we can see for all the IDs, we need to add this type of code, because in MongoDB, the ID is set to object ID, and we have to map the ID to underscore ID, because IDs are called underscore ID in MongoDB. So let's go ahead and copy this, and wherever we have the ID, we need to replace it. So let's paste it over here, and let's do the same for this ID, and let's do it for this ID, and I think that's it. Now here we can see for user ID it has this warning. So here we have to type at db.objectID, and here for all these db text we have this error. So here we can see that for all of that we need to change it to db string. So let's select all of these db text, and let's change all of this to db string. Right now let's scroll down and let's see whether we have any errors. So here for the user ID, let's type at db.objectID, and here we can see we have this error because it says MongoDB requires exactly one ID. So I'll just go ahead and copy this, and let's add it over here, and that solves the error. So with that we have set up our models, and we have also set up the Prisma adapter. Now this doesn't make any changes in our MongoDB. So if you go over here to the database, and if you click on browse collections, here we can see that right now we don't have any databases or collections. Now to add these to our database, we have to go over here to the terminal, and here we have to type this command npx prisma generate, and then we have to type npx prisma db push, and let's press enter. Now here we have this error, and it says that we have provided an invalid database string. So let's go to the environment variables, and here we need to add the database name. So here let's name it tech news. Right now let's go ahead and try it again. So let's type npx prisma generate and npx prisma db push. And now we can see that it has no errors, and it says your database indexes are now in sync with your Prisma schema. So now if we go back to our MongoDB database, and let's reload this page. And now we can see we have all these tables created. So we have account, we have session, we have user, and verification token. So these are all the models that we specified over here in this Prisma file. Right now let's go ahead and run the application. So let's type npm run dev, and let's reload the application. And now let's go ahead and log into our account, and let's see what changes we have in this database. So let's go over here to sign in, and let's click on sign in with Google. Right, we have signed in with Google, but we have this error because we are getting this image from an external source. So let's copy this domain. Now this image is the profile image. So let's go over here to the next config, and let's add the domain over here. Now we can see it works, and we have this profile image displayed. Now let's go to our MongoDB database, and let's reload. And now let's go to account. And here we can see that the account information is displayed over here. We have the provider set to Google, we have all these things over here. We have the ID and the expires at and all these things over here. And if you go over here to user, here we have the user details. We have the name, email, and the image. And if you go to session, here we can see we have the current session. We have the user ID and the session token. And that's basically how this Prisma adapter works. Now let's log in with our GitHub account. So let's sign out. So let's click on sign in with GitHub. So now we can see that we are signed in with our GitHub account and we have the details over here. So now let's go to our MongoDB database and let's reload. And here we can see in the session we have the new session. But if you go over here to account, we have another account created for GitHub. So here we can see we have the provider set to GitHub. And if you go to user, here we can see we have one more entry and we have the name, email ID, and the image. So the Prisma adapter is working all right. Right, so that's basically it for this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.